Stop the presses, I have big news and y'all are not going to want to miss out on this, so stay tuned. It is indeed time for the big announcement that I've been teasing in my last several videos. I've mentioned that I haven't been posting quite as frequently as I would like, and I'm going to rectify that, I promise, now that this news is taking place. But the reason that I've been a little bit slower to get videos posted is I've been working on a very large other project, and I am now ready to announce said project. Specifically, I have been starting a brand new publishing house called Polymath Press, and we are now up and running and ready to release our first book. This book, which I'll be telling you about in just a moment. Polymath Press is not just limited to horror, although I am a horror guy and this is my publishing house, so there's going to be a lot of horror. But beyond that, we're dedicated to publishing simply good books, whatever catches my interest and I think is worthy of publication. That means there's going to be a lot of horror because that is my favorite genre, but there's also going to be a little bit of fantasy, science fiction, some non-fiction, some mysteries, all kinds of good stuff coming down the pipeline very soon. And of course, I will be putting links down in the what's-it so you can find the Polymath Press website for yourself. Of particular interest to those of you who may be authors, we are in fact open to submissions. Right now we're reading novel and novella submissions, and there are some anthologies that will be opening for short story submissions very, very soon. I'll be announcing that on this channel as well, so stay tuned, but also follow the Polymath Press website so you can stay informed of all of those kinds of things. This is, of course, very big news for me. It's been keeping me insanely busy because I suppose starting any business is time-consuming and difficult, but starting a publishing house, let's just say the literary industry is not perhaps what it should be, so it's been a challenge. It's been a worthy challenge, but I'm very excited, and as I said, we're up and running, so I'm quite pleased with the way things are going, and I hope y'all will take an interest, and hopefully some of you will find at least some of our books interesting as they come down the pipeline. And that brings us to our first book. That is this book right here. This is the very first copy of said book. This is Case Files of the Rocky Mountain Paranormal Research Society, Volume 1. This is one of my books, which I've co-written with my colleague at Rocky Mountain Paranormal, Bryan. This represents a quarter of a century, 25 years of research into paranormal claims, and it couldn't all fit into one book. This is a fairly substantial book. It's substantially longer than average, but even that couldn't contain it all, so this is Volume 1. Volume 2 will be coming. Volume 3 will be coming. We've already outlined Volumes 2 and 3. We're working on outlining Volume 4, so this is an ongoing project and an ongoing series. But this is the first one, and it will be available on September 15th. That's our big launch day. It's currently available for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and I'll have links for all of that relevant information down in the what's it for you as well. If you happen to live in Colorado or will be visiting Colorado in the middle of September, we're also doing an exclusive limited edition of just 50 copies, which is exclusive to COFO, the Colorado Festival of Horror. That's where we're debuting the book. That is the weekend of September 15th. So launch day and the convention coincide, so we're launching the book there. If you don't live in Colorado, don't fret. You can still get the book. It's the same book. There's no extra content. It's just that we have a special edition for the convention for those people who happen to attend, because that convention has shown us a lot of support, so we wanted to do something for the attendees there. But I'm really excited about this book. I think y'all are going to like it. If you like horror, there's a lot of scary stuff in here, including some stories of the true, or at least allegedly true, paranormal claims that have inspired several very well-known, famous, excellent horror movies. But it's not all scary. Some of it's funny. This is, as I said, the result of 25 years of research. Rocky Mountain Paranormal is the sort of organization that conducts skeptical but not cynical paranormal investigations, which means as you read this book, you will find some stories in here that we were able to debunk, but you'll also find some stories in here that we weren't able to debunk. So there's a little something for everyone. And I just want to take a minute to tell you a little bit about what this book is all about. I'll read you our very own description off the back, because one of the things I do on this channel is to read the descriptions of books and movies, so I better do that for my own, I suppose. It says, "Do you enjoy a good ghost story? For nearly a quarter of a century, the Rocky Mountain Paranormal Research Society has investigated ghosts, aliens, cryptids, and all manner of bizarre claims and happenings in Colorado and beyond. Combining historic and scientific research with a love of the weird and scary, they've researched and documented some of the best paranormal stories in the world. Now, Colorado's first and only forensic paranormal investigation team is proud to present this inaugural volume of their collected case files. Within these pages, you'll learn not only the ghostly and paranormal stories, but the histories of the allegedly haunted locations and the methods Rocky Mountain Paranormal uses to get to the bottom of some of the world's strangest phenomena." This includes a bunch of stories. It is ghost heavy because there's a lot of ghost stories, but there's also some UFOs, there's some other stuff. Like I said, Rocky Mountain Paranormal doesn't do just ghosts. We've done aliens, we've done cryptids, we've done, well, it's not in this book, but we've done cases involving such things as invisible jellyfish and giant cricket demons. Those are slated for volumes 2 and 3, so stay tuned. Don't take my word for it either. Let me read you a couple of things that some early readers have said about this book. Jimmy Lee Combs, director of Terror Tales, says, "No flashy gimmicks here. What we have are first-hand, raw and real experiences from Colorado's finest paranormal investigators. Hands down, the most comprehensive compilation of Colorado haunts." Brett Smith, co-founder of the aforementioned Colorado Festival of Horror, says, "Mind-blowing. The authors thoroughly dive into each case with open minds to both rational explanations and the unexplained." And Lisa Morton, author of Ghosts, A Haunted History and Calling the Spirits, A History of Seances, which incidentally I have reviewed on this channel, so check the backlist because that's a good book too. Lisa Morton writes, "Forget everything you've seen on TV or movies about paranormal investigating. This book is the real deal, and it's smarter and scarier, and sometimes funnier. The Rocky Mountain Paranormal Research Society's case files are detailed but also exciting, written not just with a scientist's quest for truth, but also a novelist's attention to pacing and background. This is a book I suspect many of us will return to over and over in the years to come." And I am, of course, blown away to receive that kind of praise from those three people. Hopefully y'all like this book as well. Now, I'm not going to read you the entire table of contents because there are a lot of cases in here. There are, in fact, 27 chapters, along with some essays explaining methods and philosophy and some of the ideas that we've encountered along the way. So there's a lot of information here, but just to give you a couple of highlights and to sort of tell you a little bit about the book, it's divided into 3 sections. The first section is about public venues and cemeteries. These are the kinds of places that presumably, if you're in the area, you could visit. Either they're open to the public or you could make an appointment and perhaps visit these kinds of places. These are also the kinds of places that have developed a paranormal reputation, and you could read about them in magazines or websites or newspapers, and you could read their ghost stories or demon stories or whatever kinds of paranormal stories they have. The second section is investigations of private residences, which of course, because they're private, are the kinds of places that you've probably never heard about, and featuring people you've probably never heard about. In fact, they've been kept anonymous and all the names have been changed. So you have never heard about these people. Even if you happen to know them, you'd never recognize them. But they have really good stories. There are some fascinating stories that have taken place during investigations of these private residences. So that's section 2. And then part 3 is sort of a miscellany. It includes media analyses. If there have been videos or photos or things published in the mainstream press that we have looked into, that might go into section 3, and in fact a couple of those have made it into section 3 in this volume. It also includes experiments that we've done and just other activities, because not everything is a sort of formal investigation at either a public or private venue. So just to tease you a little bit about some of the stories in here, these include a case in which we involved multiple departments of the federal government of the United States in one of our investigations. That also happens to have taken place at a particularly famous, allegedly haunted hotel here in Colorado. I won't say too much more, but that was a fascinating case, and there's a lot of great history about that in the book as well. We did an investigation in a cave system, deep inside a cave, where we had to run extension cord all the way in. That case is in here. We had an investigation inside a jail. There was a particular wing of the jail that had been evacuated for renovations, and we managed to get in after it had been evacuated of the inmates, but left otherwise exactly as it was when it was active. We managed to look into some ghost stories that they had. There's a not too well-known, it's sort of well-known to locals, there's a vampire legend right here in Colorado. That case is in this book. Among private residences, there was one that involved a residence that was located on an active nuclear military base, so that was a fairly exciting one to look into. There's even a case in which my colleague Bryan got slapped by some force or entity, or perhaps just a trick of his mind. We're not quite sure what it was, but he got slapped by something. That case is in here. There's a lot of great stuff. And then in section 3, it's sort of photo analysis heavy. There's an experiment that we did involving photographs involving orbs, those sort of speckled things that you see that people associate with ghosts. There was a famous video of a ghost that a security camera caught. There were some UFO cases in here. So the media analyses and other cases are quite interesting as well. I'm really excited for y'all to read this. I hope you're excited too. I hope you get a copy. Again, either at Colorado Festival of Horror on September 15th through 17th, where we have our exclusive edition, or you can buy it from Amazon. They have it up for pre-order right now. There will be a link down in the What's It. Or you can get it directly from the publishing house, Polymath Press, which is at polymathpress.com. Pre-orders are not active there yet, but it will be available when it comes out on September 15th, direct through the publisher. Should be the same price wherever you get it, but choose your store, choose your venue. Whichever way you get it, make sure you get it, because I'm really proud of it, and I think if you like the kinds of stuff that I do on this channel, this is probably going to be the kind of book that I think you're really going to enjoy. But I am not just publishing my own work. Polymath Press is not a self-publishing venture, although I am publishing my own book. It is a full-service, traditional publishing house. So make sure you stay tuned for all of the announcements of horror, mostly, and some non-horror coming down the pipeline as we continue to grow and publish more and more wonderful books. The promise that I've made to myself, and that I'm also going to make to you, is I am not going to put the Polymath Press logo on anything unless it's really gold. So maybe not everything is for everyone. Maybe I love something and you don't love it. There's no accounting for taste, but my promise is I'm never going to publish anything unless I really, honestly believe in it. Just to give you a little bit of a teaser, our next book is going to be a book called In the Woods. It's actually an anthology called In the Woods. It's a Fiction Foundry anthology. Fiction Foundry is a writers group, sort of a critique group with which I'm associated. We're putting out an anthology, which I'm editing. I've not written most of it, but I'm editing the anthology. And it's going to include a lot of horror, but also some science fiction, some fantasy, some general fiction. It's meant to show off what the members of Fiction Foundry, the writers group, are capable of and what they're doing. So that's an exciting project that I'm hoping to have out by the holiday gift-giving season. So keep an eye out for that. Some details about that are on the website as well, but it's still forthcoming. I'm still working on piecing it together. But incidentally, if you're interested in joining a writers group, I'm also linking to Fiction Foundry down in the What's It as well. So in fact, make sure you read the What's It, because, well, there's always a lot of great information down there, but in this case, there's a lot of great information down there. A lot of things that you're going to want to know about, sort of explaining what I've been up to and what I'm going to be up to for the next few months, or hopefully the next several years, as a matter of fact. So lots of good stuff down there. Make sure you get a copy of this book. Make sure you stick around to this channel. Subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave me comments, do all those YouTube-y things that help me grow this channel. That helps me out a lot. And as I said, I am going to get back onto a regular filming, editing, posting schedule now that the publishing house is sort of off the ground. So there's a lot of great new stuff coming on this channel as well. You're not going to want to miss out on any of it. And in fact, this channel will be a good place to stay informed about this book and all of the Polymath Press offerings as well. So that's all the more reason you want to be subscribed and get those notifications, right? Anyway, I think I've prattled on quite long enough, but just as a reminder, the publishing house is called Polymath Press, so called because I am a polymath and because our intent is to publish not just one genre, not just one category of fiction or nonfiction, but a little bit of everything. We like the sort of polymath way of life and the interdisciplinary approach to everything. So that's Polymath Press. The book is Case Files of the Rocky Mountain Paranormal Research Society, Volume 1, available wherever fine books are sold. And all that's left is for me to remind you, as always, to take care and stay scared.